So, y'all, I wanted to come in here and share this story I put up on my Instagram page the other day. If you're not following me on Instagram, links in the description box at Team Rob 5. I wanted to share this story that I shared on Instagram, which y'all go through the article and break this shit down. Because I saw a couple things going on when I saw it, and I want to clear up some fallacies that black people seem to be still believing in as where the caves are concerned. As you can see, the headline reads here, 6-year-old kicked out of daycare for wearing Black Lives Matter shirt, mom says. And let me go ahead and say this early, like, we know over here on this channel, I don't support the Black Lives Matter movement, the organization, their mission statement, their goals. I don't support any of that shit. But I'm not going to let white folk, the caves, come out here and use that to now target black people for speaking up or standing up for themselves in any type of way. So understand, even when I'm covering stories like this, Black Lives Matter is being used to represent all black liberation. Now, we know that's wrong, but we got to deal with it how it is when we're reporting about it, so that way people understand it. I have a hard time, honestly, myself, when, I'm wanting to rebut something based on, some cave talking some shit about Black Lives Matter. They don't really get into the things that we talk about when we talking shit about Black Lives Matter. All they see is black people speaking up for themselves, and thus that's an issue. So I'm not in support of Black Lives Matter, but I'm not going to let people be racist towards black people based on Black Lives Matter support. So there's that. But let's get into it. Says here, an Arkansas mom says 6-year-old daughter was kicked out of her daycare over t-shirts supporting the Black Lives Matter movement. Now, one thing that does confuse me very early on here is that I don't know whether it's a daycare or a school. So it doesn't really clarify through here. She's 6. I'm going to assume maybe it is a daycare, but maybe it's a school. I don't really know. But either way, it says Little Journey Brockman wore the t-shirts to the Christian-leaning His Kids Center in Russellville last week before the school said Journey was no longer welcome last Friday. Her mom, Deval Brockman, confirmed. Now, understand something. Because it says Christian-leaning. I don't even know what the fuck Christian-leaning is. But what we must understand as black people, even if you are still living the dream of Christianity, black people understand that white folk are not Christian in the way that you think people should be Christian. According to your belief system, you think that Christians should be about humanity. That should be what it's about. All of humanity, we all God's children's, blah, 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 happily ever after. That's not reality. White Christians, which are supposedly, now understand this is supposedly make up the majority of the citizens in America. 3Ks, don't get this shit fucked up, Incorporated. But regardless of the fact that this is a so-called Christian nation and black people are some of the most religious people in the world, regardless of that fact, you are still dealing with racism, both overt, street level, low level racism, as well as institutional systematic racism. So this Christian ideal that some of y'all like to believe that white folk got, they don't. There's no such thing as a Christian cave. That's just all it is to it. Christian leaning, whatever the fuck you want to come up with, that's not real. Or you wouldn't have to stand in the streets screaming at them about your damn life mattering. That wouldn't be the case in a Christian nation. I'll continue. Says here, I was really upset. It's a t-shirt. There's no profanity. It's just stating the truth, stating facts, Brockman told the Daily News Friday. They kept saying it's racist. You're teaching your kid there's color, Brockman said. Well, there is color. If they can't see that, they'll never understand, but it's something they need to know. Understand, black people, when you're dealing with people who are either call themselves being your allies, these caves that y'all call your allies, and they saying little stupid shit like, well, I don't see you as a black man or woman. I see you as a brother and sister. Like that's that bullshit. What they need to understand is whether they see you as black or not, the entire society does. There are laws and there has been this, well, I'll just say government forces that have targeted you, while white folks sit around, even your allies, talking about how much they don't see color. Bitch, it don't matter what you see. It doesn't matter what you see. We're talking about society. So don't let them keep, small picturing you and talking about they don't see color. And you'll see black folk talking, well, I don't, listen to Terry Crews as, he's the new face of the coons out here right now. We all just one No. That's an ideology, not a reality. People must learn to separate the two. It don't matter what you see. It don't matter what's in your heart. Reality is what matters, and reality is where the conversation is. And thus, there is color. And bitch, if you don't see it, then you don't see me, and we don't have anything to talk about. So good job on the mom for saying that. She says she got really upset and started crying that she couldn't see her friends and teachers anymore. I had to tell her she didn't do anything wrong, Brockman said. She's basically consoling her daughter, letting her know, look, baby, it's not you. It's these racist bitches that run this institution, which is what she should have said. I'm sure she probably didn't. That's how I talk to my kids. So that may be just me, Says here, she said Journey was saddened by the development, but the family assured her it wasn't her fault. The family first told their story to KARK 4 News, saying the first shirt Journey wore read "All lives can't matter until Black lives matter," while the other had a raised fist printed on it. Understand, black people. Understand that the problem is that black people are speaking up. That's the issue that this society is having with black people. Period. Anytime black people have spoken up in society, whether it even be this is a silent, it's just a t-shirt, as well as any silent protest that we may have, any quote unquote peaceful protest we may have. The caves have an issue with all that because you're standing up for yourself. They programmed you to be a coon and not stand up for yourself. They programmed you to be a self-hater and take whatever racism that they dished out while you pray to a God that they created. As you say, he won't put more on me than I can bear. The white man and his mama test those limits. You're supposed to be a coon. You're supposed to be a sellout. The minute that you go against your programming, you become a rebel. You become a terrorist. This is how they will label you. You become problematic. Now you're race baiting. And all these words that they like to use to quiet or silence the black voice, even if you ain't saying shit, if it's on a goddamn t-shirt. Says here, mom says, if I'm supporting something, I'm going to wear it. My child is going to wear it to help say that our voice needs to be heard. Brockman told KARK. Attempts to reach the school's director, Patricia Brown, were not immediately successful. Quote here says, we feel childcare environment is not the place for parents' political views to be addressed or played out regardless of race, Brown said in a written statement to KARK. Now basically that's the bitch they was looking for, Patricia. Cave ass Patricia then came out here and said the childcare environment is not a place for a parent's political views. This is what they try to do. They'll try to say it's not politically correct. Neither is your skin, neither is your hair, neither is anything about you. This is why many black people have taken to trying to assimilate into this system and do everything that they can to be accepted by this system, and it has yet to work. That's not a political statement. That is a statement of humanity. Okay? Me saying to you, I'm black. This entire government is fucking racist. That's not political. One, that's a fact. Two, that is me speaking to my humanity as I was born into this reality as a black man or a black individual. Those are just facts. There's nothing political about that. The fact that this entire system is targeted against black people should be something that everybody's against. But we must understand what the government allow will trickle down into the institutions. That's just how it is. This government is racist, therefore its institutions will also be racist. It's a web of racism we're dealing with here. Now, of course, I've told y'all again, this ain't about Black Lives Matter. It's about the cave seeing black people stand up for themselves. A child, a black child, parent who sees the value in them supporting something, teaching their child to have some type of pride, even though I do think it's misplaced if you put it in Black Lives Matter, but I understand baby steps, right? They don't like that. That goes against the program that you were supposed to receive. Every one of us that's for liberation, that's for our black children loving themselves, for us loving ourselves and having pride in ourselves, you are going against the program. You weren't supposed to love yourself. That wasn't in the plan. And if you go against that, you will be met with resistance from this racist ass system and its institutions. That's just how it is. My respect to the mom for standing her square. Y'all beware. If you're going to have your child going to a predominantly white institution, which a lot of these teachers and daycare workers, they're mostly cave-ass white hoes. They don't want you loving yourself. They don't want you standing up for yourself. They don't want your child loving themselves. They don't want your child standing up for themselves, even by way of a fucking t-shirt. What they don't know, and what I feel like we should have been on this wave. Well, we're representing ourselves on our t-shirts. Y'all know I talk about that. If you're interested into purchasing some t-shirts from me, links in the description box. I'm doing it for the motherfucking team. Because this is where our people should have been. Because again, they expect us to be coons. They expect our kids to be little mini coons. Because that's the program. It's time that we break that program by any means necessary. So I wanted to share this story. Hopefully, this little girl understands and her mom's able to explain it to her in a way that makes sense to where she's not feeling saddened by this, by being out of that racist institution. Anybody, any of these caves that still have their children there should have a problem with it, but we know that they're not going to stand against this racist institution with that black woman. We understand they're not going to do that because they're in fucking Arkansas, and this is just the caves. I mean, really everywhere he is, but you know, they're not going to do that. But my respect to the mom for standing on her square for her daughter, and hopefully her daughter is able to get strength from the mom, and I hope she doesn't back down. Again, I think it should be about black liberation, not trying to convince white people that my life matters. I think that is, it just looks like I'm on my knees. I don't like that imagery, but it's a start. And white people have an issue with any black people standing up for themselves. We saw the same thing with Starbucks banning Black Lives Matter support gear from their employees. We saw that with Chick-fil-A. We saw that with Publix. We're seeing this happen because what they see is that person's possibly not a coon. And therefore, we can't have them type around here. There's no way we can let black people support themselves without us having an issue with it, because that's the type of racism that we're dealing with here. But that's all the fuck I wanted to say, y'all. I just wanted to cover that story with everyone, break this shit down. Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Links to follow me on social media in the description box. Black first, second, and third. And y'all, this is where we should have been. We should have been wearing our images. We should have been proud of who we are. And by now, these motherfuckers would be used to it. That'd be what they expect. And it wouldn't matter what institutions they put us out of. It wouldn't matter what fucking jobs they try to fire us from. we're going to stand up for ourselves and have that much pride to take these type of sacrifices and stand for ourselves and fight. And that's what it takes. And that's what we got to do on every level, y'all. Shout out Team Rob. Y'all already know what the fuck it is. I'm out.